tobacco is also in public safety.
I'm supporting it going to CBE.
Dan, are you the public safety?
Ellen?
Yes. You
I'll
and
give you
trustee
all.
Wagner, trustee Wagner are all on
Really?
public safety.
I'm focused on the process, so
Oh,
I'm
sure.
happy to collaborate with trustee Wackhorst on this item to make sure that our committee looks at it very thoroughly and gets it to the full board as
So just-
quickly as possible.
Do you want to amend the motion? But before we do that, Nathan?
Thank you. I just have something really brief that it seemed like there was a little bit of confusion on, and I think the question was, you know, what might potentially have to go to the district attorney under the law versus what can be issued as a municipal ordinance violation. The statute is 660107, and basically what it says is anything under that threshold that the chief talked about, 1 ounce, on a first offense, can be issued by, a municipal ordinance violation can be issued by the local municipality. What it says, though, is for a second offense or further, that the district attorney basically gets first dibs at the case. So, criminal prosecution. So to avoid the municipality sending every single second offense or more to the DA and the DA saying, no thanks, we don't want to prosecute that criminally, and sending it back and then issuing a municipal ticket, what the Milwaukee DA did is came up with a written policy that says, hey, we're going to tell all the municipalities in Milwaukee County when we want to see a second offense or third offense or whatever it is downtown versus when you can issue a ticket. And the first one is if it's below that threshold of an ounce, but it's in a bunch of different, it says if it's contained in more than one package, or there's evidence that is not for personal use, but it's being dealt, that's one.
What's in this?
Another one is if it's below the, if it's more than an ounce, regardless of packaging. Then the third one is if there's a previous arrest or conviction for other violations of the Uniform Controlled Substance Act as set forth in statute 961, or if the person's on probation or parole, or if the present arrest came out of the execution of the search warrant. So the local police department in Milwaukee would say, okay, we have this checklist from the DA because they have dibs on a second offense or a third offense or a fourth offense. We'll go A, B, C, D, E, and if it doesn't fit into any of these categories, the person gets a $1 municipal ordinance violation, and they pay whatever it is, $48.50 or $50 or whatever it is. But if it falls into one of these categories, it's somebody who's on parole, or if it's somebody who's on, it was part of an execution of a search warrant, the DA in Milwaukee has said, we want dibs on those, send them downtown, and discretion under the statute as to what to do with those. So I just wanted everybody to understand that there's certain things that we don't have any control over.
Well, if you read the public policy forum documents, I don't know if it came after, and I'm not saying to do this, but once you read it, there are communities that have superseded that in Milwaukee County and just did the municipalized. So everyone can read their.
Well, that's what the statute says. So,
I understand,
yeah.
and if they wanted to prosecute, they always have that option. I'm just saying there are municipalities that have done it differently, and then the DA or the state can come in and do whatever they want. I'm not suggesting that or recommending that. I'm just saying that that is in the policy form literature. So we have a motion on the table and a second. Trustee Moore.
We were talking about doing a friendly amendment to actually send to public safety. It sounded like we were getting
That's what I was
consensus
just gonna say this.
around that.
I'd accept it.
Yep.
Great. So I would still like to call the question.
We have to vote on the call to question.
Yes. Okay, so there's a motion to call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. So now we will go to the motion.
Refer for discussion to the public safety.
So the whole motion. It's not an amendment. It was a friendly amendment. That was correct.
That was the whole motion. It was just to refer it to the committee for
Oh,
discussion.
can we say,
The public safety.
right, can the motion say what the item is, not just to refer?
We did.
So what was the motion?
What was it?
You said something different. I just want to get it right.
And also there's no date on that, so.
Refer to the additional discussion and consideration to decriminalization of marijuana
The public safety.
to the public safety.
On the next standing committee agenda. Is that okay, Mike? I mean, what timing is it?
whenever they can take it up, I don't.
Okay, I will decide that. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Can you reread?
Yeah, refer, the consideration of decriminalization for discussion to the public safety.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Can I just put in the minutes a request to get a copy of the DA policy? And it might have been hyperlinked. Can someone just print it for me? Okay, thank you. All right, so then the next item on the agenda is discussion on next steps for reviewing, on reviewing plans and prioritization discussion. Trustee Menta, Trustee McKay. So are we just.
We have a coordination.
Well, you can go, who wants to go first then, how's that? Trustee Menta?
Well, I mean, this is our second time talking about this, and we talked about it in connection with the item on the village manager's work plan, which I know President Osek and I asked the village manager to bring to the board after prioritization last year, because I don't think we came out of prioritization with very clear prioritization or very clear direction to the village manager. So my feeling was, and Alice's also, that Rebecca should put together a work plan and come to us with a work plan, and that would be an appropriate time for the board to have input and provide policy direction, which I think is our role. That was, I think, January 22nd, January 4th, I don't recall. And we had a lot of discussion about dates and Jewish holidays and that kind of thing. And then we had a discussion about how, can we have some broader conversations in a more relaxed, informal setting and style, where we can talk about, number one, our capital needs, not just what's in the long-range financial plan, but the total picture of what our capital requirements are, which, I recall being a discussion when we were talking about long-range financial plan last year, which we then tabled because we weren't doing bond issues, so we said, let's not take the time now, but let's get back to that. So that's another conversation we stopped, but I think we would benefit from getting back to. I think we would benefit from a broader policy-oriented discussion on services and service levels. Just generally speaking, I think that finally on development issues and use of tax increment financing, we have not, I know the CDA discussed at their meeting last Friday about a TIF policy. I wouldn't want the CDA to be off going one direction and coming with a proposal that this board just says no to. So I think our options are to either approach everything piecemeal as an item comes to us, or to try to take a step back and have a more general policy discussion, which hopefully will provide a little more direction to staff as they go about doing their job. So, because many of these questions on capital projects, are alleys more important than Hubbard Park parking lot? Or the whatever happens with the fire building, police garage. I have my priority of things, but we have not as a group sat down and talked about that. So as Mark is putting together and the department heads are putting together a capital plan, I think it would be great for them to know where we are on some of this stuff before budget really even starts. So that was the goal, to try to have a period of maybe a Saturday and do a brunch, or so, have something other than the kind of stressful, like, okay, we have 20 minutes, at a regular board meeting, where we could just discuss these things in a little broader lens, rather than, that's what I think the real struggle I found in being a board member is, what is our role as board what is staff's role. And there are times that we go too far into details that, for example, you know, Clark Dietz or Baxter and Woodman, I mean, you know, if staff has a real reason that they're picking one over the other, as, you know, so there are things we sometimes stray too far into their area, but also on the reverse, you know, where are we setting direction and providing policy direction here, because that's kind of what we were elected to do. So, and it didn't happen in prioritization, it didn't happen in the discussion on the work plan. So I think it's really important that we have this discussion.
Can I ask a question? It sounds like, I just want to clarify, there's two separate things going on, and please correct me. One is, we've asked for the long-range financial plan to come back. I know Trustee Warren has been very vocal about that for the second, you know, wrap-up, and I want to know when that's scheduled. And then you and I have asked the village manager to bring the work plan back so we can see what the tasks were, which would have included the organizational study in it. And we did see it. It was tiny little writing if you did print out, but we did end up talking about dates. She is correct. So that's one thing. And then I think the second thing is, when can we have these larger review of current plans or past plans, and do we still feel, like, what are we prioritizing out of them? Are they still relevant? Is that correct? Is it two kind of separate things?
I mean, I think the discussion I recall from the long-range financial plan was that some of us noticed that things were in the 18 plan had been taken out. And we're like, well, what happened to this and what happened to that? And I think Mark's answer was, well, I knew we were gonna only find it, you know, he kind of trimmed it because he knew there was only so much that could actually fit in the plan. So then I think there was a question of, well, don't we need to know the entire universe, not just what was in the long-range financial plan? So, I mean,
Well,
I think it's a little bit bigger than just the long-range financial plan.
We also, I think it was just the long-range, yes, I agree with you, but I think the request was, we had given direction on putting some items in dates, and we asked to come back to tell us our debt load for those out years. And so I know we were trying to schedule it, and I'm hoping it's at the next meeting, because you've asked quite a few times, and so
That's exactly right.
Okay.
For her to kind of put the stuff back in and come back.
so that was your request. And then, yes, I hear you, Trustee Menta, and to take it a step further, there's a bigger policy question as well. Trustee Carpenter and then McKay.
Just to kind of, we got that sort of comments and with the CDA, at our CDA meeting, that was sort of one of the things we really discussed, was that there is really no kind of consensus or sentiment of what the CDA feels as far as development goes, and as conversations continue to happen. And so I think having sort of some idea of the sentiment from the board, especially in relation to development, that can be very guiding for the CDA as other discussions with it.
And the CDA,
Yeah,
he expressed that.
Yeah, as discussions continue to happen. So I think having, you know, some sort of discussion like this would be really beneficial for us as a board, but also for CDA and other committees as well.
Trustee McKay.
I totally agree, and my, the email that's included in our packet, I appreciate that, and I appreciate the memo in response to it. That I was just looking for a way to, I was sharing some experiences I had had where, you know, a group will get together and talk about a plan, and you end up talking about things that have already been completed and whether they should be prioritized. It's like, so I just wanted to make sure that if we do this exercise, that we have some kind of agreement around what are we actually talking about in the plan? Are we talking about the things that haven't been done yet? And whether they're still important? Are we maybe not agreeing with the plan and checking it all together? You know, kind of just some ground rules about where we're coming in, so that it's just level setting expectations, so that we don't.
Like, is it knowledge collection or?
Right, and I don't want to overthink it, but just that housekeeping piece of kind of, yeah, are the plans all in one place? Are in what order are we going through them? Do we have a sense from the staff, kind of, I like this 3 Ps, you know, purpose, plan, and progress. is that all up to date? Just so that we're not spending part of the meeting saying, oh, yeah, you don't need to talk about that because, you know, it's being done this summer, or it's already scheduled, or, it, you know, that was my only, it was like more of a helpful focus thing. It wasn't to say I didn't agree with doing that.
And I'm
As far as the scheduling of it, I am concerned about taking, you know, I would like to find, you know, a couple of hours and see how much we can get through. But I think if we do give ourselves the whole day, we will talk the whole day, and I'm not sure whether we need to. I'd rather err on the side.
Talking like 10 to 3 or something like that, not the whole day.
That's a whole
That's
day.
Whole day to me.
That would be a full day for me, but I would do, you know, like an 8 to 10 or 9 to 11 or something, and then see how far we get, because to your point, I do think, I definitely want to create that opportunity,
Yeah.
but I guess I'd like to just see how, be focused and, you know, a little disciplined and